Shalom, shalom, Israel. This your boy Micah Allah. And before we get started, our people gotta wake up, man. There's a lot going on right now here in Babylon, and our people still, to this day, don't know who their enemies are. They think a regular Jake or a brother, a Hispanic brother, or native, so-called native, the children of Gad, Reuben, or Issachar, or from one of the northern kingdoms of Salakia, of Negro Indian descent, is their enemies. But this white man shows and perfects it day by day that he's your enemy. And you have no understanding about who is your enemy. But we're going to go into the scriptures and we're going to prove who your enemies are here in Babylon. And before we do anything, we're going to give praises to the Most High. All praise to the Most High, Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai, for giving me this knowledge, wisdom, understanding to bring out they words, the Most High words, through Hamashiach Yahweh Shai. But before we do anything, we're going to go to Colossians chapter 3, verse 17. Let's get that. Because everything you do, man, we do in the deed of Yahweh Shai and the Most High. Let's get that. Let's go to Colossians chapter 3, verse 17. Oops, my bad. It's right here. Let's go to Colossians chapter 3, verse 17. And whatsoever ye do in a word or deed, do all in the name of Hamashiach Yahushai, giving thanks to the Most High and the Father by Him. By Shem Hamashiach Yahushai. And we're going to bring out today's lesson. Who are your enemies? So-called black man, Hispanic man, and so-called Native American Indian man. Who are your enemies? We're going to go right to it, man. We're going to go to the book of Deuteronomy, the 28th chapter and the 68th verse. Because what did the Most High tell Moses? And we know that was Yahweh shot all the time. But we're going to go right to the scriptures, man. Because the Yahweh shot is the Most High also. We know it's the Most High, the supreme being. And we also got Yahweh Shai. He also up there. And we have the angels. But we're going to go right to Deuteronomy, the 28th chapter and the 68th verse. I'm going to read it like the Bible said. I really don't like saying Lord, but I'm going to read it straight through like what it says in the Bible. And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships, and by the way whereof I spake unto thee, thou shalt see it no more again. And there ye shall be sold unto your enemies, no, your friends, your enemies, for bondmen and bondwomen, and no man shall buy you. I'm going to read this again. Now I'm going to break it down and give the viewer the understanding of why the Most High say that thou shalt bring thee into Egypt again with ships. But I'm going to start over. Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 68. And Yahweh shall bring thee unto Egypt again with ships, by the way whereof I spake unto thee. Thou shalt see it no more again, and there ye shall be sold unto your enemies, no, your friends, your enemies, for bondmen and bondwomen, and no man shall buy you. Now the reason why Moses was telling our people that we was going to go into Egypt again. Now we know Egypt mean synonymous with bondage. So he was telling our people we was going to go back into the land of Egypt again, this time on the way of ships. Because the first time 70 souls of our ancestors and our father Jacob, they walked into Egypt. So now why is he saying that we was going to go into Egypt again, but this time by the way of cargo slave ships? Because that was the prophecy that Moses was telling our people in the wilderness, that we was going to go into slavery again, but this way by cargo slave ships. And we wasn't going to see our homeland again. And we have not ever seen our homeland since we got basically booted out of the land. But we're going to go into that later on in the scriptures, who our enemies were, how did we get booted out of the land. So we're going to go through that in a few scriptures. But before that, these scriptures right here is to show you who your enemies are. So who brung you so-called Negroes, Hispanics, and natives, who, well, not the natives, but a lot of Hispanics too. They came over here too, because our people was all over. The Most High scattered us. But mainly you Negroes came to this side of the world on slave ships. So why did the Most High say you will be sold unto your enemies? And we're going to find out. We're going to see who our enemies are. Now we're going to the 48th verse. Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 48. Therefore shall thou serve thy enemies. See? Therefore shall thy, this is Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 48. Therefore shall thou serve thy enemies, which the Lord shall send against thee, in hunger, and in thirst, and nakedness. When we need food, where do we go get our food from? We got to go get our food from our enemies, because we don't own no food districts or anything. So we got to buy our food from our enemies. And in thirst, when we need water, where we got to get our water from? We got to go to Costco's, BJ's, whatever, ShopRite, to get our water. Who own these places? Majority of these places is owned by our enemies. In nakedness, we got to get our clothes from our enemies. We might have brothers and sisters that a lot of them might own their own business, got their own, clothing stores, but they don't own no textile. They don't own no fabric district. So, even though we technically buying it from them, but they still buying it from their enemies. The one of all things. The Most High said everything we was gonna get, we was gonna have to serve our enemies. And in nakedness, clothes, and the want of all things, he shall put a yoke of iron upon thy neck. So when our ancestors got here, man, and here's another, and this is one of the famous pictures right here. And let me put this is one of the famous pictures right here, man. This is another good book. Now, this didn't happen by our friends. Our friends didn't do this. Our friends didn't do this to us. And this is a famous picture right here, man, that a lot of brothers use for their own photos. That when they out teaching on the streets, they use this, because our friends didn't do this. Our enemies did this. We're going to start all over again at the 48th verse. Therefore shalt thou serve thy enemies, which Yahweh shall send against thee, in hunger, and in thirst, and in nakedness, in the want of all things. He shall put a yoke of iron upon thy neck, until he hath destroyed thee. So who put that yoke of iron upon thy neck? It wasn't your friends, it was your enemies. The Lord shall bring a nation, and here's the answer right here. The Lord shall bring a nation against thee from far, from the end of the earth, as swift as a eagle flieth, a nation whose tongue thou shalt not understand. So when they brought us over here on those slave ships, what nation of people was that? Because we could not understand their language. And the Most High telling you, the Lord shall bring a nation against thee from far, from the end of the earth, as swift as an eagle flieth. The so-called white man. That's who brought us here to this side of the world, which was called the New World. Who represent the eagle? The Greeks, the Romans, the French, the Germans. All of them is Idumea. And that's what they represent. So that's why the Most High telling you, Moses was telling our ancestors right here, as swift as an eagle flieth, a nation whose tongue thou shalt not understand. And we're going to go down to we're going to go all the way to, let's go back to, no, we're going to go to let's go to the book of Luke. Let's go to the book of Luke, chapter 1, verse 68. I think, no, Salaki 71. Because how did we get here? How did we get here? Our enemies. Now, who's going to redeem us from our enemies? But first, we got to prove who's our enemies. How did we get here to America? Did we come over here on a plane, or we came over here on slave ships? We came over here on slave ships by our enemies. So we got to know and understand, man, who our enemies are. And let's go to the book of Luke, chapter 1, verse 60. Let's start at the 71st verse. That we should be saved from our enemies and from the hand of all that hate us. Because all these heathen nations, man, the Arabs, the Africans, the so-called white man, and all these other nations, they hate us. Salaki, I'm a little tired, been up all day, but I'm going to get through doing the Most High work. These other nations hate us, man. They hate us. So we got to know and understand, man, who our enemies are. And it ain't your brother or your sisters, even though we do have enemies within our own people. But what the Most High say, man, we can't hate our brothers and sisters. And our enemies are these other nations, these heathens. We pray to the Most High, man, for these heathens, these other nations. We don't got to put our hand on these people. We pray to the Most High, and the Most High will fight our battles for us. We don't have to touch these nations. That's what we got our power for. The power of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. That's our power. Ba'Shem Mashiach Yahushua. So let's go back to Deuteronomy. We're gonna go to Deuteronomy 28. Back to 28, and we're gonna go down to the 43rd verse. This is another key verse right here, Deuteronomy 28 and 43. The stranger that is within thee shall get up above thee very high, and thou shalt come down very low. And he shall lend to thee, and thou shalt not lend to him. He shall be the head, and thou shalt be the tail. Moreover, all these curses shall come upon thee, and shall pursue thee, and overtake thee, till thou be destroyed, because thou hearkenest not unto the voice of Yahweh thy God, and to keep his commandments and his statutes which he commanded thee. And they shall and Salaki, and they shall be upon thee for a sign and for a wonder, and upon thy seed forever. And that's the curses that we going through right now. Last hired, first fired, because thou servest not the Lord thy power with joyfulness, and with the gladness of heart, for the abundance of all things. So this is why we know we the people, man. Because of these curses that we go under today. Like, we can't lend to nobody. Every time we need money, we have to go and borrow it. Or we have to go to a bank. We got to go to our enemies. Everything we want, we got to go to our enemies. Everything. "45th verse, and moreover, all these curses," Deuteronomy chapter 28 and 45, "moreover, and all these curses shall come upon thee, and shall pursue thee, and overtake thee." Moses told us these curses are going to overtake thee, because we was never able to lend to nobody. We was going to always have to go try to get loans and try to get money from these heathens. "He shall be the head, and thou shalt be the tail. Moreover, all these curses shall come upon thee." All these curses have overtook us. So we got to wake up, man, and come back to the Most High, Yahushua, and know who your enemies are, man. Your people is not your enemies. But these devils, man, they like to use our people against each other. So a lot of times you think your own brother and sister is your enemy, but that crafty Esau, man, he know how to play mind games with our people. So our people got to come back to the Most High and wake up and know who your enemies is. But we're going to go and prove that who's your enemy according to the Bible. Let's go to Job chapter 9, verse 24. Let's go to Job 9:24. A couple of more scriptures. Let's go to Job 9:24. Right here. "The earth is given into the hands of the wicked. He covereth the faces of the judges thereof. If not, where and who is he?" Who's the wicked, man? Who's running the earth right now? What nation of people, man, was given the earth to? Who's in rulership right now? And this is for the questions for you so-called Negroes, Hispanics, and Native American Indians. Who is in rulership right now? Who's ruling this earth? It's not the so-called Arabs. It's not Elam, the East Indians. It's not Ham, the Africans. So who's ruling? Who's ruling the earth right now? The so-called white man, white woman, and child. Esau, according to the Bible. They are in rulership. They running this earth right now. Let's read it again. "The earth is given into the hand of the wicked. He covereth the faces of the judges thereof. If not, where and who is he?" The Most High is asking where and who is he? The Most High is showing you through the scriptures, man, who your enemies are. Let's go to Psalms 50 and 16. Let's go to Psalms 50 and 16. That's good right there. But unto the wicked, the Salaki, but unto the wicked, the Most High saith, what hast thou to do to declare my statutes, or that thou shouldst take my covenant in thy mouth? So the Most High is saying, man, what you got to do with my statutes? You don't have nothing to do with my laws. So we know that the so-called white man was never under the law. And he got our people talking about they saved, because that's who taught that to our people, man. That you're saved, that everybody that passed, they go to heaven. That's not in the Bible, man. That's nowhere in the Bible. And these Christian churches, man, they gonna pay for every false doctrine they ever told. They're gonna pay for that. They definitely are gonna pay for that. So we're gonna read Psalm chapter 50, verse 16. But unto the wicked, the Most High saith, what hast thou to do to declare my statutes, or that thou shouldest take my covenant in thy mouth? So the Most High didn't give these heathens, man. He didn't give them the law. So it's showing you right here, what do you to have to do with my statutes? See, this is unto the wicked. Who's the wicked? Esau and these other nations, man. They the wicked. And this is why they paying us back now, the children of Israel. Because the Most High did not choose them to be his people. He chose us. And this is why we need to be thankful, man, to even be in this truth and to know this truth in these last days. Because this truth is going to be the one that saves us. Yep. But I'm getting real sleepy. But we're going to go through another couple of scriptures real quick, just proving who is our enemies. Let's go to because our own people is not our enemies. So we're gonna go into, let's go to Psalms 35 and 30, I think it's 37, 35. So like, let's go to Psalms. Yeah, I think it's Psalms 37. Let's go to Psalms 37, 35. Oh yeah, 37, 30. Yeah, 37, 35. This is the book of Psalms, chapter 37, verse 35. I have seen the wicked in great power, and spreading himself like a green bay tree. They spread it all over the earth, man. They all over. They set their border, and there's a scripture in here saying that they was gonna set their border all over the place. So we know who's the wicked. Who is the wicked? The scriptures tell you who is the wicked. Who's in rulership right now, and who's at the bottom. Like the scripture tell you in Deuteronomy, who's gonna be made the head, and we was gonna be made the tail. And we was gonna have to borrow from all these heathen nations, man. So the scriptures tell you who your enemies are. and it's not your own people. So we're gonna go to Leviticus, because we gotta love our brothers and sisters no matter what, man. Yahweh Shah told us, love thy brother. That's matter of fact. Let's get that. Let's get that in Leviticus chapter 19, verse 17. Leviticus chapter 19, verse 17. Thou shalt not hate thy brother in thy heart. Thou shalt in any ways rebuke thy neighbor, and not suffer any sin, and suffer sin upon him. Salaki. So we shouldn't, like, we have a disagreement, or we don't supposed to hate our brother. We're supposed to love our brothers and sisters, man. And I know sometimes, our people sometimes intentionally do things to hurt each other, but we still gotta, have love for them. And I know that's hard, because we got a lot of evil people from our own people, man. Our people is evil, man. Real evil. So we can't hate our brothers. So let's find out who our brethren is. Is it everybody, or is the children of Israel? Let's go to St. Mark. Let's go to St. Mark. Let's go to the book of St. Mark. Let's go to St. Mark chapter 12, verse 29. Let's get it. And Yahweh shall answer him, the first of all commandments is, hear, O Israel, the Lord our power is one Yahweh. And let's read the second verse. And thou shalt love the Lord thy power with all thy heart, and with all thy seed, and with all thy mind, and with all thy strength. This is for the first commandment. And the second is like, namely, this: thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. And and none other commandment greater than these. So your neighbor, man, is your fellow Israelite brothers and sisters, man. That's who your neighbor is. So I showed you who your enemies are. Who is the earth? Who was given the power to rule the earth? Who's in rulership right now? It ain't the so-called Negroes here in America. So who's running the whole earth right now? Who's the wicked? So until another time, this was a short, quick video. I'm getting a little tired. Hopefully I'll be able to do another little video tomorrow. But I hope my people get edified and know who your enemies are, man. Your enemies is not your own people. So until next time, I'll say Yahweh Ba'Shem, Yahweh Shai, Barakathon, Hallelujah.